And you're in tune with Radio 2 on 693 and 909 kilohertz.
Hello and welcome to Punchline. Yes, this is Punchline, a cascade of comedy, with today's Punch Bunch, Kenneth, Leslie and Bob Monkhouse. Once again, our band of players have been given several endless sketches. Endless in that they don't have a final punchline. So just before they get to the end of each sketch, they'll be stopped by this noise. And I'll ask each of the team to suggest their own punchlines. Then off we go. It's a fact, isn't it? You can't always go by appearances, which is a problem faced by a Rolls-Royce salesman in our first sketch by Raymond Harris. This salesman has noticed two undesirables larking about in one of his showroom limousines. Are they riffraff he ought to throw out? Or could they be rich undesirables, interested in buying?
Norman, stop it. Not in here.
Can I help you, Arthur?
No, you find your own bird, mate.
I mean, sir, are you interested in this model?
Interested? He won't leave me alone. Of course, we are engaged. See this ring on my finger?
Very novel, ma'am. A savoury potato hoop.
Of course, this is only for safety. My real engagement ring's in a bank vault. Wear that, I might get mugged. I'm safer with this potato hoop.
I wouldn't bank on it. There's some hungry people about these days.
Yeah, well, hang on, we're coming out.
Right. Allow me to assist you, madam.
Right, now, this motor.
The Rolls-Royce Corniche.
Oh, yeah, right. Any good? I'd want them for next Saturday.
Them? How many had you in mind?
Well, how many can rustle up?
Norman wants them for jumping over.
For jumping over?
You've heard of Evel Knievel, haven't you?
Oh, God, just about it.
Yeah, well, I'm one of his rivals, aren't I? Noxious Norman.
You're a stunt man.
Norman cleared 10 minivans last Saturday at a young Conservative's fete.
Oh, indeed.
Yes, easily.
I landed in the fortune teller's tent.
Tell him what she told you.
Well, she told me I'd meet a demanding, dusky maiden who'd take me back to her place for the night.
And did you?
Yeah, as soon as I come out of the tent, I got arrested by WPC Patel. Yeah, she charged me with causing a breach of the peace, took me back to the station.
See, his bike had landed on the posh people's podium and hit the Home Secretary.
Yeah.
Nearly woke him up.
Yeah. So I'm moving up from bikes now. They're too dangerous. That's why I'm here.
What? You're going to use Rolls-Royce Corniche to jump over a row of cars?
Oh, no.
Oh, I'm relieved to hear it.
I'm going to jump over a row of Rolls-Royces in my old A40.
That's unthinkable.
Yeah, I know, it can be done. I worked it out. I just got to come off the ramp at a speed of 150 miles an hour.
Oh, what, in an A40?
It's souped up.
I mean, what if your calculations are wrong and you come down on the Rolls-Royces?
Well, no bother. The A40's undersealed.
But what about the roofs of my cars?
Well, don't you think they'll stand it? Bit ropey, are they?
It's not a question of being ropey. They are not flying A40 proof.
Are they cheaper in bulk, eh, mate? Say by the dozen.
By the dozen? Have you any idea how much 12 of these beauties would cost?
About $500,000.
At least that.
Do you mind cash?
Could I inquire, sir, how you came by $500,000 in cash?
Oh, perfectly legally, mate. All straight stuff.
Yes, but I mean, how?
Well, I'll tell you, mate.
Okay, now let's hear your punchlines. Ken, this chap jumps over vans on a bike or over Rolls-Royces in an A40. Money's no object. He's got £500,000 in cash. How do you think?
He said, I'll tell you how I made $500,000, mate. You know Barbara Streisand had a nose job? Well, I did the scaffolding.
Dillis, how do you think you got the money?
Oh, it's just no bother, mate. I saved the $500,000. See, back in the winter, I had a crash and spent 3 months in hospital. How does 3 months in hospital save you $500,000? Easy. I missed a quarter's electricity bill.
And, Bob, what's your punchline?
I think the salesman says, how much money have you got, sir? Norman says, 73,000 quid. Salesman says, I thought you said you got $500,000. Norman says, oh, I thought you meant on me. I made a fortune in Israel with my big stunt, jumping over 20 Arabs in a steamroller. I wouldn't have thought you could have done that. Well, I couldn't, but it was very popular. I put my brain to work on this one, Leslie. I thought, how could you come by $500,000 in cash? I thought, well, you could open a chain of wishing wells. Or the salesman says, they say it's impossible to become wealthy these days, sir, no matter how hard one works. May I ask, sir, how did you come by £500,000? And Norman says it's entirely down to my old dad. A single piece of advice that I got from him, and it's due to that I've got this £500,000. The salesman said, well, that must have been truly great advice, sir. I'd dearly like to know what it was. And Norman says, well, I'll tell you. My old dad, he said to me, he said, Norman, my son, here's £500,000 quid, don't bloody lose it.
Our next sketch, by Bernard Cranwell, takes us back to the world of childhood. Well, beyond childhood, in fact, as our two characters aren't actually born yet. Here they are, Bob Monkhouse and Dillis Lay, in that blissful state when life hasn't even started, so they don't know what they're in for.
It's nice sitting on this fluffy pink cloud, isn't it?
Well, we'll have to make the most of it. I've just heard tomorrow's January the 24th, and we're going to be born.
You mean tomorrow's my birthday?
Yes, you'll be none.
And you're going to be born tomorrow, too?
Oh, yes, of course I am. We're what they call twins. That's why we're both on the same cloud.
Twins? So that means we're equal.
No, it doesn't. I'm being born at 8:30, and you're not due till 9:15.
What do we have to do to be born? I mean, how do we get down there?
We're carried by a stork. They've ordered one for 6 a.m.
A stork?
Unless the weather's too cold. If it is, they'll send a penguin. And I expect it will be cold, being January.
I don't like the cold.
No.
Why don't we wait and born in the summer?
Oh, no chance. We could hang on a bit, but summer's ages away. And if you wait too long, they come and fetch you.
You are clever. You seem to know everything.
I ought to. I'm 15 minutes older than you. Besides, I'm a boy. Are you a boy or a girl?
I don't know.
You don't know? You don't know? Haven't you had a look?
Had a look where?
Oh, where'd you think you'd look? Don't you know anything about facts of life?
No. Where do I look to find out if I'm a boy or a girl?
I'll tell you where you look. You look at your hands.
But if I look at these, I'll fall over.
No, those are not your handies. Those are your feeties. These are your handies. Now, let's see your handies. Oh, yours are clean. You're a girl. Boys have dirty hands.
Gosh, I'm a girl.
Oh, yes, I'm right, because here's your name on this label. You're called Shirley.
Shirley.
That's right. Shirley Henry.
I thought Henry was a boy's name.
No, that's our surname, silly. That means it's our mummy's name.
If our mummy's a lady, why's her name Henry?
I expect she married a gentleman called Henry.
If our mummy had married a lady, what would it have been?
It would have been very tricky.
How will we know which is which?
Oh, it's easy. Mummies are all soft and lumpy. And daddies wear cloth caps.
Will Mummy and Daddy be expecting us?
I'm sure they're expecting someone. They may be a bit surprised that we're twins.
Oh, then they'll be even more surprised that you're white and I's black.
Well, Daddy will be. And I'll tell you something else, Shirley.
What's that?
It's this.
Now, baby Bob, do you remember when you experienced the joys of fatherhood?
Oh, God, you get so excited when you're a young father. I ran all the way around the town, up and down the high street, telling everybody. I ran into the butcher's shop. This is true. And I yelled out, I said, my wife's just given birth to a 9-pound baby boy. And the butcher said, is that with or without the bones? I don't think he was listening.
It could only be true. Right, it's punchline time. Ken, 2 little babies waiting to be born, twins. One white and one black. How do we pay it off?
The baby boy says,
when Mummy sees you're black and I'm white, she'll look at me and say, this one's going back, it's only half done.
That's lovely. Beautiful little baby Dillis. What's your punchline?
Oh, I think the father's a milkman. And when the mother sees their twins, she'll say, typical. I ordered one and he's gone and left me 2.
And Butch Baby Bob, what's your punchline?
Oh, won't Mummy be surprised that we're alike as 2 peas? Not really. Daddy's a bachelor and Mummy was canned. I heard Mummy telling the doctor she can't afford talcum powder, so she's been collecting flour bags from the baker's yard, and she's going to dust us with them. Well, at least we'll never have nappy rash. We'll just break out in quacker wheat. They'd better not mind us both being cross-eyed. No. Why are we both cross-eyed? Well, I'm not sure. I think it's got something to do with behind the gasworks 9 months ago, when our dad said to our mum, you look one way and I'll look the other.
Okay, we move on. Here's a sketch by Raymond Harris involving a fancy dress ball. I recently went to a fancy dress ball dressed as Frankenstein's monster. Driving home, the police stopped the car and asked for a breath test, so I got out. And it's the only recorded case where the bag didn't change, but the policeman went green. In this sketch, the fancy dress ball is being held in the local guild hall. But the fire brigade have arrived on emergency call.
Line up the equipment, men. The fire's round the back. I'll check the front. Make way, please.
Your ticket, sir.
What? Stand aside, please. I'm a fireman.
I can see that, Squirty. Not a very original fancy dress, if you don't mind me saying so.
No. This is my job. I'm a fireman.
Oh, dear me, that's not very bright, turning up at the ball in your working clothes.
Don't fuss, man. Let me through.
Not without a ticket.
But there's a fire.
No, please. I know your little game, coming here dressed as a fireman and trying to get in without a ticket. If there's a fire, where's the smoke?
But it's all happening round the back. We'll have to bring our hoses in this way.
Well, I must say, it's a very good story. I'm almost tempted to let you in for cheek. But 700 tickets have been sold and 700 people is our limit. Fire regulations, you know.
Good grief, man. There's no one in there now. They've all left by the emergency exits.
No ticket, no admission. If I made an exception for you, they'd all be at it, wouldn't they? There'd be a whole queue of people, all dressed as firemen, trying the same dodge. You see? Look, they started already.
No, these are my men. Look, if you don't believe me, come round the corner and see our fire engine.
You don't catch me like that, Sonny Jim. Soon as I'm round the corner, you'd all nip in.
Oh, right, that's it. Come along, men, we're going through.
Not without tickets, you're not.
Out of my way.
Take your hands off me. I'm council property.
Council property you may be, but...
Right, let's hear some punchlines for this one. Ken, this commissionaire won't let the fire brigade in because they haven't got tickets. What happens next?
I think the commissioner throws the fire chief and all his men down the steps and says, "Get out of here and don't come back." And the fire chief picks himself up, dusts himself down, and he says, "Oh, well, it was worth a try, lads. Have to go to the pictures instead."
And Dillis, what punchline have you thought of?
Well, I think that the place is on fire, and the chief says, "We must save the building. They're doing the pantomime here next week." And the doorman says, "I know, I'm playing buttons." And the fire chief says, "Keep standing there and you'll end up as cinders."
And Bob Monkhouse, your punchline, if
And
you
Leslie
please.
Randall, I think the doorman sniffs a whiff of smoke and he relents a bit and he says,
Three of you can go in. Yeah. But you can't take none of your nasty, scratchy apparatus. You can't take it over our nice, polished floors.
So the fire chief and two men rush in. A couple of minutes later, they walk out again. And the fire chief, being of a poetic turn of mind, he explains in rhyme. He says, "A really big blaze will keep burning for days, needing fire-fighting gear by the shipment. But this was a flash job, a smouldering ash job, needing no complicated equipment. No great hoses to drench it, no deluge to quench it, no clatter of axes that shatter. We'd had a few beers, and this job, it appears, was only a piddling matter."
For our closing sketch, George Evans has taken a new look at Romeo and Juliet, that great tragedy in which two star-crossed lovers are kept apart by a family feud. Well, families still feud today. Let's join two North London youths as they recapture the spirit of Shakespeare in their local public park.
"Course, truth! What gorgeous bird on yonder bench!" "I think I'll take her on the grass and get some value for me rates."
A smashing little dolly with all, it might be said.
"With all?"
With all those naughty bits so well developed.
"She's like an agent's circular. A lovely sight to find, fine bay windows, all mod cons and well set out behind."
A well-built girl she is. Her blouse could not be fuller.
"I' faith, she is a cracker, and I intend to pull her. Yeah, she'll do me just nicely. I shall accost her there."
Stay, Romeo, stay.
"What sayest thou that? I won't go anywhere."
I said stay, thus meaning hang abouteth. I recognise this wench. Of that there is no doubteth.
"Then speak, Benvolio. Who is this little raver?"
I'll tell you, son, and note, I'm doing you a favour. She is called Juliet, but from a family that's sworn to cut the throats of blokes like you and me, for we are Montagues and they are Capulets, and if her mob get hold of us, they take us to the vets.
"Oh, wretched fate that doth ensnare my heart. with one of that rough mob for whom I should not give a tart. 'Tis too late to draw back. She is the one. I'm caught up like an amorous fly, which hath become undone. Hey, she's seen us, Ben, and now she's thoughtful, see? I'll give a lot to know just what that cracker thinks of me.
Oh, Juliet, poor fool. Your heart goes ring-a-dinger. That bloke's a bit of all right, eh? And probably a swinger. I think I'll drop me Yankee. That ought to make him stop. Oh, heck, I've lost me Yankee. Now, what else can I drop? 'Cause there's no doubt I fancy him. He'd suit my aspirations. He's just my cup of tea. I like his little perforations. And now I'll shut my trap for fear they think this mutter is simply too much rabbit, or else I'm a nutter.
Give over, Rome. Don't mess about. This bird could mean big trouble. If her old man saw her with you, he'd burn your home to rubble.
Alas, 'tis true, Benvolio, but let me ask you, why our families do want to punch each other in the eye?
The feud is deep and bitter twixt our family and hers, for we support the Arsenal, and they support the Spurs.
I careth naught for Arsenal. I stand not in their debt.
Don't let the fan club hear you. Naught's what Arsenal usually get. Forget this bird, young Romeo, for her don't make a play. As it says in the referee's rule book, just leave it out, no way.
But I must have her, Benvolio. I'll chase her round the garden. She's got me going, she turns me on.
Hold hard.
I beg your pardon.
If you're tangling with that Spurs mob, then I don't want to know. So farewell, you great pillock. It's time for me to go.
Oh, good, his mate's not staying. We're better off without. Here comes that gorgeous hunk of man to chat me up, no doubt. Oh, Juliet, thy beating heart will almost burst thy zips. What wondrous word shall I hear now from his romantic lips?
Ella, darling, how's it going? That bloke was my brother. Now that we've got rid of him, do you fancy a bit of the other? A galaxy of beauty I do behold this day. You're definitely galaxative. Woohoo, wooha, woohoo.
Well, what's your name then, cheeky? In fact, just who are you?
Oh, I'll tell you what my name is. I'm Romeo Montague.
God, blimey, then we've had it. That's the end of a dream. We'll never get together. You're mobs with the wrong team.
Oh, stuff this soccer rubbish. Never mind my name. Forget about the football. We'll play another game.
It cannot be, dear Romeo, although I know it's sad. In fact, I think we're for it, because here comes my old dad.
Hello, what's going on? What's all this blooming racket? My Juliet with a Montague, I'll punch him up the bracket.
Stay, aged loon, yea, hang about, and cease your pointless blather. This feud hath gone on long enough. Our folks should get together.
Get together, that's a joke. A right old farce and all. My family says up the Spurs. Yours, up your Arsenal.
Come off it, Dad. Give over. And please don't lose your head. The football season's over now. Let me and Rome get wed.
My God, you must be joking. To pass that shall not come. I'll never let him have you. I'll kick him up the...
Right, then let's have some punchlines. Ken, the modern Romeo and Juliet are kept apart by football, because their families follow different teams. How doth it all end?
Well, as a football fanatic, old Capulet says,
I've just one thing to say to you, although it may seem hard. Be gone, kick off, and don't come back, or I'll show you the yellow card.
And Juliet Dillis, what's your punchline?
I think he tells Juliet she must never let Tottenham Hotspur down by going over to the opposition. He says, the Spurs need us supporters. They're top team in this town. And if you lose your supporters, your trousers falleth down.
And Bob, what's your punchline?
Oh, I jotted my punchline verse down with Shakespeare's original pencil. It's got lettered on the side, to be or not to be. Here Romeo yell, "Aye, Juliet, girl, let's have a Chinese and a pint at the Bell." But she wants to go to a posh cafe where he watcheth as she nosheth his pay away. He canst not pay the bill, he landeth in debt. Yes, Romeo'd while Juliet. The very next day they meet in the park and in clover they lay till the skies grow dark and as in Shakespeare's time, neath the pale moon's glow, there's a sigh and a cry of Romeo, Romeo, Romeo by in the crowd. Romeo lay down and do it again.
Well, that's all we've time for today, but there'll be another edition of Punchline next week. Till then, thank you for listening. On behalf of our panel, Kenneth Connor, Dilys Lay, and Bob Monkhouse, our producer, Edward Taylor, and myself, Leslie Randall, bye for now.